Hello, everybody. Today, as you can see, we're gonna read some CrappyPastas. Now, what are CrappyPastas? Where they're just really and dumb, badly dumb written stories, which are meant to be creepy pastas, but unfortunately, they're just really bad. For example, this one, which is based off the widely renowned Minecraft game, and the story behind it. I say behind it, but well, you'll see what I mean. Now, this story is called "Did You Stumble Across Hero Brian?" Now, this was written in December 29, 2012. Clearly, this kid had way too much time on his hands to write this story. Anyways, this is Did You Stumble Across Herobrine by who knows who. I don't think they want to know who made this, because it's just bad. Anyways, let's get right into the story. I didn't know about Herobrine in 1.3, but the new update said removed Herobrine. I was relieved, but somewhere inside, I knew that there was something like an egg, and inside was Herobrine ready to hatch, waiting for someone to stumble across him to be released into the game again now. I'm scared to mine, so I use too many items from time to time, but that is all to it. Now, I got one thing to say about this story. What's so... I mean, I see what... Why is it scary? I don't know. I guess because Herobrine. There's like no grammar. Like, there's no punctuation is what I meant to say. So you have to read all of this in one sitting. I can't do that. I'm really bad with my stuff. Anyways, another one. It's called YouTube is Watching. Ooh, spooky. It's not like the government's watching you. Well, the internet and what you're looking at more specifically. Anyways, this is YouTube is Watching, and you know, it goes to Aaron6. Now remember that name, it's very important for the story. This happened around 10 years ago. I was on YouTube, you know, watching Aaron6, hey, what up? But I kept getting a weird feeling like someone was watching me, and then I knew it. It was YouTube. YouTube was watching me. I shut off my laptop and ran downstairs. At this point, I was really scared. I called my friends over. Yo, TJ, where you at? And we all saw it. And ever since, I've never gone on YouTube again. So keep in mind, YouTube may be watching you, innit? I don't know why I did that accent for this. Okay, let's pick this apart. Okay, I don't know, maybe it's just the person who had to rewrite this entire story, but some of the grammar is bad. Like, then I knew, then has a capital letter, and there's no full stop, and it was in the middle of a sentence. Uh-oh. Let's see, they spell around wrong, you know? They spell it with a W, not a U. Anyways, I think this kind of relates to some of the people scared from this year and last year. You know how like Mark Zuckerberg's like selling your info to like super shady stuff, and you know, the government's watching you. The FBI might know that you're looking at lolly snuff. Just watch out, they will find you. So yeah, you can't do anything about that. You can't clear your internet history because they know about all those little girls that you try and watch. Or are they little girls? You know, you can never tell these days. Anyways, on to the next CrappyPasta. Ooh, now this one. Charlie the Killer. Ooh, boy. This is gonna be fun. So, I guess you can tell that this is based off Jeff and Jane the Killer. Now we have Charlie, based off the Charlie Challenge. I'm kidding, this was written in 2013. I forgot when the Charlie Challenge was made, but I'm pretty sure this is written before the Charlie Challenge. So let's get into this story. Jeff is nearly 18 now, and meeting Jane the Killer was a big thrill for him, as she died a tragic death from falling down the stairs. But this didn't stop his psychopathic ways. Charlie was going through a rough bullying stage at school, and was beginning to get depressed and hearing voices on her head, not in her head, on her head. They were telling her to do stuff. She just put them to the back of her mind and carried on with getting shoved in lockers and beat up in the girls' bathroom. She heard the voices screaming at her until one day she snapped and listened to the voices in her head and pulled out the copper piping from the wall and stabbed her bully to death, then licked the blood off the pipe. Now hold up, this girl just like yeet, a yeet, a bang bang, a yeet. What the hell? Just what? Okay, I guess she gained superhuman strength. What school has copper piping just there and able to like yeet it out of the wall? Oh wait, I guess that's some of the changing rooms, but you know what I mean. Anyways, she leaned near the bully's body and whispered, "Now you know how I felt when you called me ugly and said I was too fat to meet anyone who'd like me, and I was a whore who should kill myself." After she realized what she had done, ran away, she didn't feel bad about this. Actually, she was quite glad. She wanted to do it more, so Charlie went out. She killed more people just because she liked the feeling of knowing she wasn't in fear anymore. Charlie was never a mean girl. She'd always just sit there, that's the wrong spelling of there, and take the crap. She had beautiful eyes with brunette hair, but she started wearing really dark makeup and dyed her hair black. I'm sorry, this sounds like she just became an emo or a goth. Can't tell the difference. Sorry about that. Like, what? Why couldn't you? Why dye your hair? You know, why black? I mean, I understand you have to go with all the cliche killer stereotypes, but seriously, be original. Like, wear flamboyant colors to like and kill people with, I don't know, like freaking. What's flamboyant for you? I don't know, but do stuff in a flamboyant fashion. I mean, if you don't care, just kill people the way you want. Why do you have to follow the stereotype? Follow the crowd. Do your own thing and kill people the way you want. I should probably stop saying this. Luckily, I don't monetize my videos, or else YouTube will like be just like America. Whoops, I wasn't meant to say that. Anyways, let's continue on. She'd read the Jeff the Killer stories and looked further into this, as Jeff was her inspiration. She has a whole altar and stuff. Like, she's basically a yandere. I'm calling shots that she's a yandere. She went on and started doing what Jeff did. She used to say, "Don't go to sleep. I want you to feel the pain I went through." Then she would pull out their guts, wrong use of there, and burn them in their own stomach acid, watching as blood would fly everywhere. Ooh, spooky. Hee hee. Charlie became the talk of the town. One day she went on the search for Jeff the Killer. She looked everywhere, hoping that one day they'll meet. Guess what, guys? Guess what happens? Charlie finally met Jeff. Jeff looked at her. He didn't say a thing. His eyes were locked onto hers. He walked up to her and brushed her hair behind her ear and kissed her on the cheek. Charlie blushed, hee hee, and questioned Jeff. Why? Why do you like someone like me? I'm just a fat, ugly whore. Jeff looked down at the floor and then looked up at Charlie again. You're the most beautiful person I've ever met. And you're not ugly, I mean fat, ugly, or. Jeff spoke. I think that we should be together, as I've heard a lot about you and I was fascinated. Charlie started blushing as Jeff grabbed her cheek and brought his lips closer to hers. Ooh, ooh. She pushed away. Why'd you push me away? Don't be scared of me, please, Jeff said as they were stood down in an alley in the rain. Jeff, you don't know what I've been through. All I do is push people away. Charlie whimpered as tears started streaming down her face. I'll always love you, no matter what happens, Jeff said, wrapping his arms around Charlie. I have the urge to kiss you, but I feel as though if I do that, you'll just leave me. My father, like, oh wait, this is wrong person. Whoops. I read in the Jeff voice. This is meant to be Charlie. Let's let's reread that. I have the urge to kiss you, but I feel as though if I do that, you'll just leave me. And my father left me after violently beating me and my mother. I don't want to fall in love with you, as then I'll have to trust you, and I don't want to end up killing myself like my mother. Okay, Charlie. Jeez. Why did they say that now? They could have just said that earlier. What? I didn't know that, Charlie. What? Okay. Charlie began to explain. I'll never hurt you. You're the most precious thing to me. I've been waiting to meet you as soon as I heard about you. After being with each other for 2 years. Wow, 2 years. Round of applause. Jeff decided it was time that Charlie and him should get married. What the hell happened? You know what? I probably should have said something about this. It does say fan fiction. This is one of the tags, so I guess it makes sense. Okay. Charlie. Jeff leant down on one knee. Will you do me the honors of becoming my wife? Jeff opened up the case to see a gorgeous ring with little diamonds going round the edge. Yes! Charlie squealed in joy. Yes, I will marry you! As tears of joy streamed down both of their faces. They went back home. A week before the wedding, Charlie sits down at the bottom of the bed and begins to cry. What's wrong? Jeff curiously asks. I'm pregnant, Charlie cries. What? Jeff says surprisingly. I'm 13 weeks pregnant. I was gonna tell you before, but I didn't want to make a big fuss, and then we lose it. Charlie, this is great news. I want to kill myself now. Wow. What a beautiful love story written by Megan and Charlotte. So, yeah, that's fascinating, huh? Okay, and now with our next story, it's The Twist, which is a parody. Ooh, this is written by Greg. So this is pretty, apparently it's okay, of a CrappyPasta. Okay, so this is The Twist, a parody. Don't read this because it actually works. Now you've started reading, you can't stop. A girl named Kathy drowned to death. If you email or repost this comment to 3 more videos, tomorrow will be the best day of your life. If you don't repost this comment on at least 3 videos, Kathy will come for you when you're sleeping. This is so scary because it actually works. Billy examined the message. He hummed and hawed over it. Scratching his chin. On any other day, Billy would have done what the message said. After all, he didn't want to die within 3 days, and he did want to have the best day of his life tomorrow. But today was different. Ho ho ho. Today, Billy was 8 years old. Far too old to be dabbling with such nonsense. He had tried repeating similar messages in the past, and his only reward had been dozens of people on the internet sending him nasty replies. Hesitantly, Billy replaced his mouse over the red X at the top right of the email and pressed it down. The email closed, and as it did, Billy felt shivers run down his spine. But Billy was too old to be scared by such nonsense. He got up from his chair and headed to the kitchen to find his mom. His mom was preparing a delicious tuna casserole, Billy's favorite. Now, Billy, said his mom, taking the steaming casserole out of the oven. Remember, this is for lunch tomorrow. Don't eat it before bed, or it will give you nightmares. His mom left the room. I'm going to work now. Make sure you're in bed in a few minutes, alright? Billy nodded. Billy's mom left the house, and he heard the slam of the front door. Billy was all alone now. It was time for him to go to bed soon, and he didn't want to have any more frightening thoughts. But the casserole. It looked so good. Surely, thought Billy, a simple taste would have no effect on me. Billy took a step stool and sampled the irresistible tuna casserole. It melted into his mouth and filled Billy with a sense of euphoria. Surely another taste couldn't hurt. Billy cut himself a slice and took it to his bedroom. After messily devouring the meal, Billy fell asleep. Billy awoke with a start. He heard a noise in his room. It was a creeping, sloshing sound, like the sound of a boot sinking into a muddy puddle. At first, Billy thought that was his mom coming home from work, but after checking the digital clock that glowed bright red in the darkness, he realized that his mom wouldn't be home for another few hours. The sloshing sound continued. Billy sat up straight, listening intently to whatever it could be. He crept backward downstairs and saw muddy footprints leading straight into the front hall of his house. He gasped. Now Billy was frightened. Now Billy felt like a child, too young to be a part of such a frightening world. He considered bolting out the front door, but Billy calmed himself down. Maybe it was simply his mother, home early after all. Sorry about that. Billy crept after the footsteps. Billy knew that his mother would never trek such a mess through his house, but Billy still had to be sure. The footprints came to a dead stop in the kitchen. Billy poked his head through the doorway and turned the lights on. There, sitting on the kitchen table, was a girl about his age, eating the tuna casserole. Her hair was matted, wet and black, her skin fetid and rubbery, and her eyes glowed as red as his alarm clock upstairs. Billy gasped, startling backwards, and crashed against the wall, sliding to the ground. The girl got up off the table and steadily advanced towards him. "What's wrong with you?" she said. I'm just... Billy wouldn't listen to the she-witch's horrible taunting. He tore past her and grabbed the nearest weapon in the room. The tuna casserole. Using the brunt of the glass container, he smashed it over the girl's head. A steady stream of blood poured from it, and the girl lifelessly collapsed on the floor. The tuna casserole was now spread all over the floor, messily decorating it with bits of cheese and fish. Billy took a sigh of relief, as any moment now the girl would evaporate into a puff of black smoke. However, the girl just lay there lifelessly. Billy thought for a moment that he had made a mistake. He kicked the girl a bit, but she continued to lay there lifelessly. Looking outside, he noticed that it was raining, which probably explained her boots and the hair. Billy shook the girl frantically, but there was no response. Billy started to cry, and as he did, he noticed the girl stirring. Still not sure what to make of it, Billy grabbed a piece of glass from the shattered casserole. He grasped it so hard that blood formed at the edge of his hand. The girl rose up, and one of her hands shot towards Billy. As she choked the life out of him, she reached down and began eating the tuna casserole. This must be one good tuna casserole if this girl is eating it too. Billy awoke with a start. His chest puffed in and out as he steadied his thoughts. Looking around, he perceived that the previous events had all been a horrible dream. There was no demon ghost girl after all. He sighed in relief, but noticed something wet on his hand. And it was sticky. Just kidding. Looking at his hand, he saw the glass he had taken from the tuna casserole and the blood that had formed after he pierced his skin by holding it too hard. Uh-oh, here we go. Billy awoke with a start. Before doing anything else, Billy looked at his hands, completely clean. He thought absolutely no blood, no signs of conflict. Everything was right with the world. It was still dark out, but his mother would be home soon. Billy looked around and then let himself relax. Thank God I'm done with these nightmares, he said. Don't thank him yet, said a voice coming from the doorway. He looked up and saw the girl again, this time holding a butcher's knife. Billy awoke with a start. Again. Not ready to be fooled again by his dream, he first checked his hands, clean free of blood. He looked at the doorway, vacant, not a soul inside. He held his breath and listened for muddy footsteps, but not a single one was heard. Terrified, Billy crept out of his bed and decided to wait on the couch for his mother to get home. He grasped the metal banister and began his slow descent downstairs. As he did, he looked around, desperate for signs of foul play. When none were spotted, Billy made it to the couch and waited for his mom to come home. After a few minutes of tense, nerve-wracking waiting, the door swung open, and his mom, back from her night shift, greeted him with a smile. What are you doing up so late? Whoops, I used the same voice. Rip. Billy's eyes were filled with, I've been having these terrible nightmares. I accidentally had some of the casserole and Billy's mom shook her head. Billy, you haven't been having nightmares. You are the nightmare. Billy's mom head exploded into a writhing snake with matted wet hair and a venomous bite. Her arms twisted into laughing clown heads, while the rest of her body oozed red pus. Billy screamed as it descended upon him. Billy awoke with a start. For a few hours, he was too afraid to do anything but silently sobbed to himself in his bed. He didn't care anymore. He just wanted the nightmare to be over. This sounds like Inception. Ooh. Guys, everything that you've seen in Inception, it was all a dream. Everything was a dream. Ooh. Billy knew that this was a nightmare. Sure, there were no signs to prove it, but there would be soon. Undoubtedly, there would be soon. Wait, what? Okay, said that twice. Billy ran downstairs just as his front door opened. Billy! Said his mother. What are you doing racing around the house at this time of night? Billy ran past his mother, knowing that soon she would become a nightmare. Billy only had one destination, the Luger that was hidden deep downstairs in a safe. Billy knew that if he could get his hands on the gun, he could blow his brains out and the dream would be over. His mom chased after him, screaming things that his mother would scream, like, "Get back here, Billy! You should be in bed right now! You ate the casserole, didn't you? And where are you going?" Billy made her no mind, and he headed into the basement. He spotted the safe. Billy's mom couldn't keep up with him and was now only walking after him. It would give him enough time to do what he needed to do. Billy knew the combination to the safe, although his mom thought that he didn't. The Luger was his father's, and now he planned on putting it to use. He inputted the combination and took the gun out of its place, right as his mother burst through the door to the basement. "Billy!" she cried, tears welling up her eyes. "Put that gun down this instant! Now! Now!" Billy wouldn't fall for her tricks. He placed the gun to his temple and closed his eyes. "Billy!" yelled his mother frantically. "No! No!" Billy pulled the trigger. The bullet went clean through his brain and his lifeless body fell to the floor. Billy's mom collapsed to her knees and cried, reflecting on what a royally idiotic idea keeping the Luger downstairs and assuming Billy didn't know about what it was. After hours of crying, she phoned the police. The police showed up, asked her questions, and took her into custody. Billy's body was swept up and would be put into a newspaper. People from all over the world would wonder what brought this boy to such a tragic end. Ah, who are we kidding? Billy awoke with a start. He rubbed his temple and sighed. "That's it," he said. "No more goddamn tuna casserole before bed. The end." Yeah, that was the end, boys. That was pretty good, except for the he woke up. And that's the end of the CrappyPasta segment. Hope you enjoyed that.